Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Puritan and we get to hear from George Pye-board again today in Act 3, Scene 4. So things were going really well for him. All of his plots and schemes to scam Lady Plus and to foretell the future and to get a chain so that he can get Idle out of prison, like all of that was going along really well until he got arrested. He came out of the apothecary shop and two men arrested him, Ravenshaw and Puttock, because he owes money to his landlady and she hired them to arrest him so they could get the money. But he came up with this clever ruse that he had a piece of paper in his pocket and he's pretending that there's a drawing of a mask on it and that somebody owes him money for that. So the two of them are like, well, if you pay us more than she did, then we'll go with you to collect that money and all the debts can be settled, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, great. So they go and they knock on a door and the servant of the house comes and answers and he's like, what are you doing here? Who are you? What do you want? And George is like, well, don't you recognize me? And the servant's like, of course I do. Of course I do. I'll go get my master. And while they're waiting for the gentleman to come out, they're admiring the home. They're admiring all the maps, all the books, all that stuff. And the gentleman comes out and he's like, how can I help you? And Pye-board takes him aside and he's like, listen, you got to help me. Check out this mask. I need help. I'm desperate. I have no money. These guys have arrested me because I owe a very tiny amount of money, but they arrested me anyway, but I'm not going to be able to pay bond. And please, 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 I hope that you can take pity on me. And the gentleman is like, why, what a lovely mask is drawn there. So the two, Puttock and Ravenshaw, are still just like looking around. And George continues to explain his situation to this random gentleman who he doesn't know. He says, in the plunge of my extremities, being giddy and doubtful what to do, at last it was put in my laboring thoughts to make a happy use of this paper and to blear their unlettered eyes. I told them there was a device for a mask drawn in it, and that, but for their interception, I was going to a gentleman to receive my reward for it. They, greedy at this word and hoping to make purchase of me, offered their attendance to go along with me. My hap was to make bold with your door, sir, which my thought showed me the most fairest and comfortablest entrance, and I hope I have happened right upon understanding and pity. May it please your good worship then, but to uphold my device, which is to let one of your men put me out at a back door, and I shall be bound to your worship forever. So that's not where I thought that was going the first time that I read it. But what he's saying is he's describing a situation a little bit more in depth as opposed to just, I'm destitute, I have no friends, I have no money. He's like, I'm doing this whole thing where I'm pretending that this piece of paper is going to be worth some money from a gentleman that owes me to it. And these guys want to collect that money. And I knocked on your door because it was a lovely door. It looked like a welcoming door. It looked like a friendly door. And I'm hoping that I was right in thinking that I would find a friendly face here. And what I really need from you, and when I first read it, I thought he was going to say, I need £5 so I can pay them off. But instead he says, I need one of the people that works in your house to let me out the back door while they stay distracted in here. Which is so much more fun than asking a random stranger, can I borrow £5? So the gentleman is like, this is a lovely mask. And he goes along with it. He's like, this is a lovely mask. And if you come with me into the other room, I will get the money that I owe you for this mask. And Pye-board looks at the two other guys and he's like, I'll be back, just going to get the money, you're okay with me? And they're like, yeah, go get the money. And they stay in the room and they just keep admiring the maps and the books and the stuff that's there until after a little while they're like, he's been gone an awfully long time. Like, are they printing the money right now? What's going on? Where are they gone? And the servant comes back in and they're like, where's the master? And they're like, no, nobody else is here. They're like, well, what about the guy that we showed up with? And they're like, oh, he left like an hour ago. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, he went out. We thought that everything was cool, so he left some time ago. And they're like, no. And they realize that they've been made fools of, and they feel very bad about it, and they're upset, and they're also fired up to go and rearrest him and to not be taken advantage of this time. But Pye-board and his wily ways managed to escape out the back door of a random stranger's house rather than pay his landlady the money that he owes her. So fun stuff going on. And now we get back to the other shenanigans in tomorrow's monologues. So I'll see you then. Mwah.